What's good, people? Welcome back to another episode of Quality Over Quarantine. I gotta switch the name of this show because we ain't even in quarantine anymore. We're just out, like we're just doing our thing. So this might even be the last show of this title because we ain't quarantined anymore. We're out here. Unless the second wave hits super hard, then boy, you can say I jinxed it, innit? But we're going to introduce a guest. You already know what time it is. You already know who it is. Big up the one like Britizen Kane. We saying, brother?
I'm good, man. How are you?
I'm cool, man. How have you actually been dealing with this whole lockdown period?
Better than I thought I would, to be honest. At first, I was like, I was worrying about work, worrying about life in general, and mental health situations, and I just thought, nah, this is going to send me under.
Yeah.
Like, this is going to be difficult. But now, a lot better than... I think I realised after a while, it was like, you've got a lot of extra free time. Like, use it wisely. You know what I mean? It was like, yeah, so definitely better than I thought I would, man.
Yeah, that's cool. It's funny, actually, because almost every artist I've spoken to, and I've been like, yeah, how did you find it? Everyone's been like, yeah, nah, man, I've been loving it. And now
because I feel like I'm never gonna get an opportunity like this again, like this much time to myself.
Yeah.
And it's a blessing. You'll probably know this yourself. It's a blessing to be able to record at home. Like when you can record and mix and everything can be done from home, it's such a blessing. Because I've seen people and I've spoken to people like when I was making some music and they were like, I've not got the means to record, and I was like, no, this is really helped me in this situation. Yeah.
I think that's the killer. The artists I've spoken to who haven't been able to record, like, then you're just in a box. But I feel like if you've... and it's funny as well because this idea of being self-sufficient is something that we've been doing for a long time. So, like, there was no speed bumps, there was no learning curve. There was just, this is what we do. I've already been doing this, shooting videos myself, just me and a tripod. So to me, it's like, okay, it's nothing.
It's natural.
But then obviously there's a lot of people who haven't been in that position who've been like itching to get things done. And even saying that, there's been projects that I wanted to put out that I couldn't put out.
Yeah. Same.
But at the same time, the one project I couldn't put out put me in a position to put out 5 projects that I could put out. So to me, it's been like, all right, cool.
Swings and roundabouts, yeah.
Yeah, man, yeah. But apart from that, you've been handling it and just doing it.
Good, man, good.
Sick,
really
man.
good.
That's sick. So this is quite an interesting interview because the majority of people that I interview are people that I've had conversations with before. So like I know the vibes, you know what I mean? Like I know how they're gonna come with it, yeah. Me and you, yeah, like I know you online and we spoken before.
I was gonna say we've interacted a bit, but not a proper in-depth conversation like this.
Yeah, man, yeah. So it's like we've done tracks together and all that. But it's cool to
3 now, yeah.
3, yeah? Is that when we done?
After 2 or 3, I think, yeah.
Serious?
Just trying to run them over in my head. Yeah.
Do you know what though? Nah, that might be Messiah K2's fault. That might be his fault, man, because he just
pairs us up all the time. It's just like, I got this tune with Genesis. I was like, okay, same again. Me, you, and Detail.
Yeah, he just be throwing stuff in my inbox like, yo, do this. All right, cool.
And then I get the mix and he's like, yo, I'll just send you some stems. I'm like, what's this one for? No, man, it is.
See, this is cool putting it together because like, so Messiah K2, like for me, he's like, I don't even know how to explain it, man. He's kind of like some kind of like fairy godfather figure, yeah, who just like appeared. I don't even remember even like how we even met or how we know each other. All I know is that one day we were just friends and it was just like, yo, we said...
I remember he appeared. I remember when I put my very first mixtape out. He must have found this mixtape somehow and appeared on Twitter, and it's just like been ever since then. Since the very first tape that came out, he just stayed. But yeah, man, big up Messiah too. That's a sick guy.
Yeah,
good
man,
guy.
It's cool to because I feel like I was thinking earlier today, I'm sitting down and I'm going over. I'm going through Twitter and I'm just looking at artists that I know, and I'm thinking like there aren't really any. Like me, I've been part of crews, but not part of like teams, and you know what I mean, like the way people move. And then I was kind of looking over at it was a post that Messiah put up, and I was like, he's actually kind of created a team within what he does. The way he just brings people in, he's created kind of a community around himself, and it's just
definitely. It works.
Yeah, man, it's like it's sick to see, and it's sick to be part of as well, because it's like everyone who's a part of it, I'm just like, yeah, they're dope. Like he just knows like, yeah, nah, this guy does what
this is gonna work. Yeah,
it's sick. So 100%. You talking about when you put your first mixtape out, when was that?
So that was 2010 was my first proper mixtape.
Okay.
Yeah, so yeah, I was 17, so 2010. Yeah, 2010.
Seeing. So how did you even get into music in the first place? So you're a Manny guy. You're from
Man, yeah.
Manchester.
So it's funny because when I've been watching these interviews, and it's funny hearing people talk about like, obviously they heard American rap, and then people started rapping in American accent, and
Mm.
then they heard like London rappers, and then they were like, oh, we can do this. But then I had like the extra step of like hearing a Manny rapper and being like, oh, we can do this, like
Yeah.
because obviously so it was like the standard like late '90s hip hop was the first started stuff that I heard, and then the first UK artists. I think I probably heard like 21 Seconds and stuff, but didn't really pay too much.
Yeah.
Like was aware of it, but wasn't really too aware of it.
Yeah.
And then obviously I remember hearing A Grand Don't Come for Free and Boy in the Corner, and those two albums, I was like, yo, this is what I want to do. And then I think it was probably about a year or two after that. I remember, do you know Manchester at all?
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Like, so you know Market Street, like the main shopping street in Manchester. There used to be a company up here called The City Is Ours, and they used to, they used to basically just make compilations of, and it was just Manchester rappers rapping over American beats, whatever was hot at the time, and they'd had these compilations, and they were just selling them on Market Street for like a $5. And I remember just being like, I'm gonna spend my whatever money I had on me, I'm gonna buy this copy of this CD, and I was like, what, 14 maybe at the time, and I remember bringing it home, and I was like, yo. Like, I think that was the first time I heard Fallacy, the first time I heard, like, Shifty and Wrigley and all these people were on this compilation. I was like, yo, this is sick. And it wasn't long after that. I think it was, when I started, like, writing for the first time and, like, doing the same thing, just rapping over American beats, and it was terrible. It was terrible. Like, I'm so glad that I don't have those MP3s anymore. Just in the danger that someone ever gets the hard drive one day. But, like, so, yeah, that was then. And then, obviously, it just sort of went from there, really. I just kept writing and kept writing. But I think from young, I was like, I just wanted to like bar. Do you know what I mean? Like, I was really interested in just the technicality of bars and putting bars together. And I think that's what I wanted to do from the beginning. Was just like, okay, I just want to rap.
That makes sense.
Yeah, that's what it's from young. Yeah, so I think the first mixtape was 2010. Yeah.
It's funny you mentioned The City Is Ours, because when we first started selling mixtapes on the street, we used to go everywhere and do it. Manchester was one of our like favorite spots, so we would hit Manchester and we would hit them man who was like, what are you selling? We're like, what are you selling? And like we see, do you know what I mean, buying each other CDs and stuff, and having little. Mike GLC actually was one who was up there, like way up there from way back, and like having little turf wars. Now we're over here now. What? All right, cool. We're gonna go over there. Like it was the mixtape days, like they were cold, man. Manchester was probably one of my favorite places. Like
you could never, there was that whole point. It was like 2 or 3 years in Manchester. You couldn't go down Market Street without like being sold like 2 or 3 CDs on a Saturday, and that's what it was. You'd end up buying something. And it's funny. I was listening to Rio RIO from Manchester. I was listening to him to tell a story on Instagram the other day of like, where they'd be like him, Shifty, Wrigley, all at different spots. And then you were buying a CD off one of them, or you just get followed up and down Market Street. Like, if you've got money for the bus, you've got money for a mixtape. It was like, so that's what it was. So yeah, you set up this stack of just Manchester mixtapes that you picked up, and that was, man.
That's it. That was that. So like your, I guess there's quite a big gap between, I guess, 2010. So for the last decade, you've been on the grind and been doing your thing. Take me up until like, what's the journey been like up until this point, especially for someone coming from Manchester as well, because I feel like Manchester's been making noise and been doing its thing, but I feel like there's been certain pockets that have been doing their thing in different sounds. So how's it been for you?
I think when the first mixtape came out in 2010, there was like, I think there was this thing of like, it seemed very like, what's the word I'm looking for? I don't want to say competition because it wasn't really, but there was like room for one Manchester MC at a time. So Shifty was hot and everyone rallied behind Shifty, and then Wrigley started doing his thing with Wiley and everyone rallied behind Wrigley, and then obviously Shotty started the battling thing, and then everyone rallied behind Shotty. Do you know what I'm saying? It was just that way. Like obviously all of them man respected each other and were supporting each other, but it just seemed to be that way. And I think that like, as far as myself was concerned, I was like, okay, I saw how they were doing what they were doing, and I was like right on the end of the mixtape on Market Street era, so I could never really partake in that, because like by 2009 2010 the industry was starting to change. That's what I'm saying. So like, but it's funny because I think this was a bit of a hindrance for me at the beginning, because I was still stuck thinking like that for the longest time. So I think during the early 2010s that really hindered me a little bit, along with a couple of other mistakes that I made musically. But like from the beginning, so with the first mixtape that I put out, I was very fortunate to have that relationship with Sway from very, very early on. So on the first mixtape, Sway featured on the record, and at the time, like Sway was hot. It was like 2009, like just on the Akon deal, F Your X was out, and I think that like 17-year-old me was just like, wow, you got a record with Sway, one of your favorite artists, and I was gassed. But looking back now, I'm like, that was huge for Sway to do that. But the point that he was at in his career, he didn't have to do that, and that helped me a lot at the time because that got me the first like one extra play and stuff like that. And I think those things at such a young age really helped me be like, okay, you can really take this serious. Like I felt like I was like already started to think beyond just spitting in a park with my friends, like, which is nothing wrong with that, but I think having that little glimpse from the very beginning made me think that you could do something with this. If you keep going with this, you could do something with it. And I think through the early 2010s, that was like the mentality that I had. The trap that I fell into was, because at the time, like I said, the industry was changing. I also think that the music that was coming out was changing from the UK, and obviously that's when the Tinchy Striders and the Tiny Tempers and Roll Deep and all them lot started charting. And I was like, oh, maybe this is what you need to do to pop. Maybe this is what. Obviously, I was still like 20, so I was still around the college and uni kids. And I was, even though I didn't go to uni, I went to college, and then all my friends were in college and uni, and they were out. And they were listening to this music. I thought, maybe this is what you need to make. And I remember I made, so probably like 2011, 2012 maybe, I made this one record, and it was basically the biggest Miami to Ibiza ripoff I've ever heard in my entire life when I think back to it now. And yeah, so I made it, and obviously I was showing my friends, and they were like, yeah, this is fire, because this is what they were hearing when they were out. So obviously I didn't really have another reference point apart from that. So I was like, we got a video shot for a friend of mine called Will, who was doing his uni thing at the time, has now gone on to do film stuff. He's doing really well for himself. But he shot this video for me, and I was proper proud of it. Sick video. I was like, yeah, this is the one. You know, when you're young and naive, and you're like, this is the one. And I was like, this is gonna go. And then I put it out, and like the college and the uni were like, this is sick. But then the people that I started to realize the people I wanted to get the reaction from wasn't that lot. Like, it was like, there was artists and peers that I wanted to get a good positive reaction from, and I wasn't getting. And then I remember Sway obviously heard it and texted me and was like, what the hell did you do that for? I was like, what do you mean? He's like, you're not at and we had a long conversation, and he was just like, you're not at that point to make that record yet. He's like, just rap, like, you're not ready for that. You know what I mean? You should be making that record yet. And obviously at the time, it proper was like, set me back, because I was like, man, I thought I was doing the right thing, and like I was ready. I thought this tune was going to be everything, and then that really made me think, okay, maybe at this point you've got a lot of a friend base, I call it, where your fans are your friends at this point. Do you know what I'm saying? And I was like, okay, the next thing you have to do is move away from that. And I think for the next maybe year or 2 years, maybe even 3 years after that, like, my productivity in music went like this as my mental health went like this, like, because so much stuff happened in life, like, not just music, so much good and bad things happened that were life changing. And I think that was the time that I changed my name. Obviously this is something we're not mentioned. I used to go by a different name before I became Britizen Kane, and I was like, it was in that period I thought, I feel like I've outgrown that name. I feel like that name was associated with that and those sort of songs, and I feel like I want to change the name and just reinvent myself when I decide I'm eventually going to make music again. And I think it was like the end of 2015. So yeah, it's like a 2-3 year period where I did nothing really. But I wrote and I was just like recording it, but I wasn't, like, it's funny, I listen back to those recordings now and I'm like, you sound so bored.
Same.
Like you just sound like so bored and like unsure of yourself. But when I came back to it again, I was like, right, I'm just going to rap. I'm not going to think there's going to be nobody else's opinion matters. I'm just going to rap. I'm going to write what I want to write, and I'm just going to rap. And basically that's where I've just tried to keep it from since then.
I think it's funny, because like, one thing you mentioning, so to me, right, the idea of going, all right, listen, I want to make a banger, a song that this is what everyone's listening to, this is what I want to make, and I'm going to do that, I think, if I was to go back and redo what I did, I think I would have done the same thing. But the problem was, at the time, I was too stubborn. So I was just like, nah, I'm doing this forever. Right? And my thing was, I don't want to do it on anyone else's terms but my own. And I feel like even though you feel like what you did held you back, yeah, I feel like it's the same thing. So I feel like regardless of where you go, you kind of end up where you're supposed to be anyway.
Yeah,
like
of course.
it just happens. And it's funny actually, because a lot of people that I know who have gone for the you're trying to make the hit, yeah, you're trying to catch one. Everyone I know who was around, who I've been around at the time, who was trying to catch one and didn't catch one, isn't doing it anymore, because it takes so much energy. You give so much of yourself, and again, it's not even really yourself. It's like, I want to do that, and it's not even really you. It's like, I want to do that. So by the time you go and do that, and then you get hit down, then you're just like, why did I even bother? Because it wasn't even me anyway.
Yeah,
and I see that, like, I can name at least 5 artists here that are cold artists, that they were rappers, then they decided, nah, I want to try and get the what's hype right now. And it's funny as well, yeah, because I still feel like, even at the age that I am now, and the music that I make, if you look back at what I've done over the last 10 years, man, like, even if you go back to 2010, maybe not 2010, but definitely 2012, yeah, where I started making more of the music I was listening to, moving away from boom bap music, yeah. It never felt like, oh, I'm trying to do this. It was like, it was such a natural progression. And even moving into more like, even the auto-tune stuff, again, it was never like, oh, I'm trying to do this. It was just like, nah, this is the progression of what I'm doing. And I felt like, at the time when I did it, a lot of people were like, oh, you're trying to jump on a bandwagon. And it's like, cool, I'll see you in 5 years. And then we get here and it's like, everyone's doing that. It's like, ah, cool, you're here, you made it. Cool, man, wicked. Nice to see you.
Nice to join me, yeah.
And I feel like sometimes you just, you have to just be yourself. But at the same time, even when you make those mistakes, the fact that you've managed to kind of chill, fall back, rebrand, do your thing. Like, to me, that's massive. Like, not a lot of people get to do that. Not a lot of people get to get second chances at this game. It's like, it's unforgiving. You don't get second chances. So the fact you've done that is kind of mad, man.
I think I was definitely blessed that I was still so young when I made, like, do you know what I mean? I must have only been like 20, 21 when I made that mistake. Like, and I was just like, okay. And then those like 3 years of real life happening sort of made me reevaluate and a lot. And I was like, you should just be you. Like, you really want to make music. That's clear, because you've never stopped thinking about it the whole time you were going through this, the whole time you were having kids and you were like moving into your own house and you were going through depression and all this stuff. You never once stopped thinking about, I want to make some music. So when it came back to actually making the music, it was like, you just got to make this for you, because you want to make this music. It's not like that person over there who wants to hear the next Miami to Ibiza is telling you to make your music. You want to make it. That person doesn't care if you don't make another song. You care. Yeah. So I'm like, okay, I'm just going to make what I want to make at this point. And then I was just like, I just wanted to rap, like, because it was like, everyone I listened to is such like, well, at that point, everyone I listened to was just like bars. Do you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, I was just listening to like Slaughterhouse, Elzai,
I hear that,
Black Thought. Like, it's just like, okay, these are the people I want to rap like.
Yeah.
And yeah, no, I think I mean, the rebrand and doing that has been the best decision I think I made as far as music was concerned, 100%.
One thing I noticed here, like, you took the people that you mentioned, you're talking about, again, we mentioned this so many times on this show, the God level pen, yeah, and people that really bar. Yeah. And obviously, when I listen to your lyrics, yeah, like, I can, like, because of the way I write, yeah, I'm a lazy writer, yeah. Like, I'm a super lazy writer, and I'm the kind of person that if I have to, yeah, I can go in that bag, but only because that bag is there. I spent decades in that bag of writing, rewriting. No, this has to go there. You didn't get that line when I said that. Like, yeah. Right, okay, cool. So when I listen to your bars, I'm always like, oh shit, all right, cool. Yeah, he's gonna, like, I just know, I can just feel it in. I'm like, yeah, no, I see what you did there. Yeah, cool. And it's like, there's a lot of pride in what you do, like, lyric, bar wise. So that's definitely, like, is that something that has always been there, or is that something that you always go into thinking when you go into a track, like, I ain't coming to play?
Yeah, no, it's literally that I literally said before. It's like bars or nothing. I was having a conversation with someone before, and I was like, "It's literally bars or nothing." That's it. Like, but it's funny because I used to do the same thing. Like, when I would say a bar, and like, You ever done that thing where you've been sat in a room with someone and you've shown the tune to them and you're waiting to see if they clock a bar and they don't clock it? You're like, you not hear what I just said? It's like I stopped caring about whether people were getting. It was two things. I stopped caring about whether people were getting the bars because I'm like, somebody somewhere is going to catch that bar.
Yeah.
And if they don't, then I enjoyed writing it, so it doesn't matter. And secondly was I started to make my, because I used to say some mad obscure references, and I thought no, I'm just going to make it so that it's easier to digest for people. Like the bars, people can catch the bars. You can't complain that people aren't catching them if you're making them impossible to catch.
But I love that though. Do you know what? See, this is the thing, yeah. See, the only people, there's certain bars that I write, yeah, that no one on this earth will get, apart from my wife, because I tell her, right? So like, when I wrote, what song was it? Flowers. I'm in the room, just me and Pastor. I say something about I set a high mark. I'm in the room, just me and Pastor, labouring for art. And it's like, there's a movie called The Room, yeah? And one of the biggest phrases from it is high mark. So it's like, no one's ever going to get that, ever. Yeah, like, but to me...
For you, it's like, this is like, yeah. They're the best ones. I can't think of any examples off the top of my head right now, but I know I've done that a few times. I've gone, yo, this is fire. And I've said it to someone and they're like, nah, I don't understand. And then you get the enjoyment out of having to explain it. So you know what, I should do it where I say a bar and then I explain it for a bar and then say it. That's how I should lay my tunes out.
See, that's the geeky side of like, the geeky side of rap. But again, because like, that's the school that I came from. Like one of my first kind of, I'd say, writing boot camps was back in the day when writing with Wordsmith, and writing with Wordsmith is like, it's like sparring with Tyson, because he's gonna batter you. You're gonna lose. Like there's no two ways about it. So there's no point acting like you're gonna come and have a good sparring session and you're gonna come out on top. You're not gonna win. Yeah, you're not gonna win because again, it's just too far ahead. But you're gonna give it a good shot. And we'd be going back, and he'd always be like, "Ooh, you know what I mean? That was a good punch. Oh, that almost hurt me." You're like, Tyson, stop fucking about. I know it didn't hurt you, but
it's like, oh yeah, that's sick. Now listen to this.
Yeah, he always does that. To this day, always does that.
This is why I hate putting, because me and Detail do, we've got loads of music coming out together because we're both working with Turkish at the minute, so we've got loads and loads of projects together. And I hate putting a verse on a tune before I've heard his, because I'll put mine on it, and it's like with the single we done recently, Adlib, the single off my album that we put out in May, and I did it, and then Turkish was like, oh, we'll get Detail to do a verse. Do we have to? Like,
listen,
we're really gonna do this again? Like,
I just want to go out because it's funny, yeah. Because I just listened to Adlib again just before this interview, and I even forgot Detail was on it. And I'm listening, and I went, right, who's that? I'm like, oh, it's fucking Detail, man. Like, it's because it's so effortless. Like, it's so, again, this is like, everyone's got their styles, yeah. But I think with his style, it's like, because it's so natural, effortless, unforced. And he's going fast, then he's stopping, then he's just and you're just like, it's not monotone, it's just effortless, like you say, because some people like it's just like, I feel like I'm so like in your face with it. Same,
like,
that's me.
I'm just gonna. That's what I'm saying. We're similar. It's like, listen, even like the Instagram videos that I do recently, like I could see it in my facial expression. Like, you're really getting intense at this. Like, they're crazy. But D's just like, yeah, I can just say some things, and it's gonna be the best verse. I'm just like,
it's horrible, but at the same time, it's beautiful because it allows you to like. It's always pushing you forward, man. It's always pushing you to the next level, and it's this is okay, right? So, Where are we in the interview? All right, we're 20 minutes in, yeah. All right, cool. So let's get to it, yeah. Because I feel like this is like a really good example of the type of artist you are. Because I feel like I'm the same type of artist. So I feel like in this game, there's certain guys who they get things given to them, but like it comes easier to them.
Yeah.
Like they just come in and they do their thing. You're just like, rah, man's just busting, rare. But I feel like we're the kind of artists who have to work a bit harder than most people to get the things that we get.
Yeah.
And I feel like, so I always, like I said a little bit before off camera, and I was just saying, it's always good to kind of see the things that you're doing. And even like before these singles, like obviously you were doing big things and doing things. So it's like, it's really cool to see. let's start with this year. Wait, was it this year? Last year. So you've had like 4 big singles, yeah, that you've dropped.
So we put 4 singles out. Yeah, there's been 4 so far. Yeah.
And you've had on each of them, you've had big features.
No,
three of them.
Yeah, the first 2 had. Yeah, so the first one was a re-release of an old single that I didn't do. Basically, so before Popcorn Blue, I got a feature of Popcorn in like 2011 maybe, and I just sat on it, and then I just sat on it. I don't know why I sat on it. And then I sat on it, and I went through that dip, like I said, where I wasn't making music, and I didn't really know what to do with it. And then when, do you remember the Red Bull Culture Clash in 2016 when Mix Pack won and Popcorn was like popping? And I thought, now would be the time to do it. But because I was only just coming back into music, and I was still in the whole like mixtape stage, I was like my mentality hadn't changed. I had never had any music on Spotify or iTunes or any of the DSPs. Do you know what I mean? So I was like, okay, I'm just gonna put this on SoundCloud and just leave it there and hope for the best. Like, and obviously it didn't do anything because it was just on SoundCloud. Yeah. So then when I started working with Turkish sort of last year, because Turkish sort of came really on board in like 2018 before I put out the Paradise and All Its Problems EP, and then sort of middle of last year, Turkish and me, like he started producing all my stuff for me and we started working closely. And before we put out the singles that we've started putting out, he was like, we should re-release that Popcorn tune. Yeah. And then, because Screwfizzer was on it as well, so he was like, we should re-release it and just, we can use it to help boost up the Spotify algorithm and all that, you know what I mean? And I was like, you just talk, I have no idea what you're saying to me. All right. This is still lost on me at this point. So he was like, so obviously we put that out, and that was just like a re-release of that, and that obviously helped. That was November last year, I think. That immediately started for me, that was really good to see, because like everything beforehand, I knew was good quality music, but the numbers were not where I would have liked them to have been. You know what I'm saying? It was like, it's a shame that they're not higher than that. The music's great, but I just wish it had done more. So when that came out and it was the re-release, and I saw it, I thought, we might be onto something. Yeah. And then the second one was the Jadakiss one. Yeah. Or Jadakiss featured on it. So that was the first one that Turkish produced. That was the first one, because me and Turkish have got like a full album coming out later on in the year. So that was single number 1 off it. And obviously that was riding off the back of the monthly listeners that I picked up off the Popcorn single, and also that got picked up by the Spotify curators and got added to the Rap UK playlist. So obviously again that just helped grow it even more. Yep. And then we were gonna put Adlib out in Feb, and literally it's like 3 or 4 weeks in it you have to give for the Spotify curators, I think it is. So about 2 or 3 weeks, about 3 weeks before we were ready to go with Adlib, I said, because me and Tia talked about making a song called Tyson Fury, because I get told I look like him sometimes, and there's like, we should just do it. So I was like, okay. So we'd started making this song and it wasn't done, and then we realized that the fight was in like 3 weeks time. Like, let's drop this. I was like, let's just drop this now. Like I said, let's just drop it. I said, because I had the line in the hook that was like, still ain't took a loss yet, and I thought if he loses, we just take it down and forget it ever happened. That could never happen. but if he wins, it could go somewhere else. Yeah. So that was just me on my own. There was no feature on that one. That was just me. And it was because when I put that out, because it was just me, I thought, if it gets 10,000 streams, I'm going to be happy with this one. Off the back of the other two, this gets 10,000, and then that got added to the Grand Shutdown playlist, and then he won the fight, and then we found out that he'd heard it, which like I lost my mind when we heard it and he liked it. I was like, no, that's crazy. Like I'm such a pest, man. I was like pestering all the people in his camp that I knew he was training with, and every time I put a clip on Instagram, I was tagging him in it and sending him inboxes, tagging him in stories, but hiding the tags behind like emojis so it didn't look like they were being overrun with shit. But yeah, so when eventually that Tyson Fury sort of escalated, I think that's the most streamed one now. I think that's just gone over like 82,000.
That's funny, man, because I think my biggest track, well, apart from 37, is Michael Bisping, is the Bisping track. And it's like, it's the same kind of thing. So what I done, I did it and didn't really think nothing of it. I think I might have tagged him in it once, and then just kind of left it. Yeah. And then some like weird way, he just heard it. I don't know how he heard it. And then like I woke up in the morning and it'd been like, yo, you got to check this track out. And then I'm like, wait, this is Bisping's bigging up my track. And it just went crazy. And then it got playlists and picked up. And it's just like, then he, like every now and then, he'll send me a video in his car playing it. I'm just like, nah, this is nuts. But it's cool when like those things happen, because in your mind you're like, this could work, but I don't know if it will. Same with the Ricky Gervais, like way back in the day.
Yeah.
Again, it was like I did it, and this was the time where Twitter was like, it was different, and I was tagging him loads, like, yo, check it, and then after a week he didn't check it, I was like, alright, don't worry about it. And then randomly, he found it was on his website, and it's like, oh shit. So it's like, it's so cool when that kind of stuff happens, man.
Yeah, especially when you get that cosign. Like I say, it was probably 2 or 3 weeks after the fight that I eventually got word from somebody in his camp that was like, yo, like the song's great, Tyson's heard it, Tyson loves it. And I was like, oh, that was enough at that point. I was like, we got it to him.
Wait, that's my next one's Annie Joshua. I need to do Annie Joshua track.
So obviously after that had come out, and then we decided to go with Adlib, which obviously we just spoke about before, which had Detail and Randolph, who's been doing all the music with KSI. We decided to put that one out as the 4th single, 3rd one, because the Popcorn re-release isn't going to be on the album, so it's technically the 3rd one off the album. But it's the 4th one in the chain. So yeah.
Why are you leaving it off the album? Is that
because Turkish didn't produce? Well, the main reason Turkish didn't produce it, so because T produced the other 12 on the album. We're like, okay, we'll just plus because it was a re-release and the vocals are from like 2016. I listened to it compared to the other ones. I'm like, no, that was not good. Don't do that again. So
it seems like your relationship with Turkish, big up Turkish as well, actually, man. Turkish always like super safe every time I meet him. It seems like the team is working out really well. The way you work together, the output has been amazing. And do you feel like that's kind of been being able to have someone like that to bounce ideas off? How do you feel that's kind of helped moving forward?
Like more than I think I realized at first how much it was going to help. I think that from when T sort of came and was like, I think when about middle of 2018, I was halfway through making the Paradise EP, and T sort of came on board and he was like, okay, let me hear what you've got. And then I sent it him in the order that I wanted it to be and the way that I wanted it. And then he sent me back with 3 songs missing in a totally different order. And he's like, okay, this is what we're going to release. And I'd never had that from like it'd always been like my decision, and I'm not saying that wasn't my decision, but I've never had, even if it was people's opinions and their input, it was always just friends or people that were sort of on the same level as I was, and they were like freewheeling a little bit as well.
Yeah.
So because T's track record, I was like, okay, well, maybe this is worth trying. Like, do you know what I mean? I think my way hasn't worked so far, otherwise it would have worked by now. You know what I'm saying? It would have gone by now. So I was like, well, this is worth trying. And then that became my most well-received project like that. And I was just like, you've got an idea. And then I wanted to put another project out, and he was like, nah, just let this one breathe. Because that was always my biggest downfall, was just like, I'd make a project, spend so long making it, and then stick it up, share the link twice, and then start the next.
It's dead. It's dead to me.
It's like okay, next project. But I like that EP in 2018 really helped me sort of live for like a year off it. Like we put like the 3 tracks that T decided to remove, we put them out as like a bonus EP in April 2019, sorry. But other than that, until Ready came out in November, that was it. Just the 11 songs off that EP and the bonus tracks survived me the year, and that was like got me back on BBC introducing, because there was a lot of stuff that I did like in 2010 when I was working, when I had the Sway single out. There was a load of stuff that I did then that I'd never been able to do again because of just like I just hadn't been able to get even though I was trying and putting the music in the same avenues, they obviously didn't want to listen, or it wasn't being picked up. And that EP helped me get a lot of the things back that I had. Like it helped me get the shows at Manchester Academy again, and it helped me get helped me get on BBC introducing again, and those things. It's like, okay, this is moving in the direction we needed it to. And then we started Turkish was obviously doing a load of stuff with Detail, because them 2 cousins, I don't know if you know, Turkish and
D.
For
real? Sick. Okay.
Yeah.
So it must be, it's my something in the blood and the DNA. Is that how they're going on? Flipping
cousins, obviously them 2 were working already, and I went down to London and met Detail, and T was just like, you 2 should do a song. And then obviously, so I was like, okay. So then we started working on loads of songs. Turkish was obviously done all of Awate's album and all of one of Detail.
That Awate album's crazy as well, man.
Crazy, innit? I love that album. Amazing. So he done all of that, done like loads of stuff with D, and then Turkish started working on this album. It was going to be an EP at first. We were like, we'll do 4 songs, and then he made a 5th beat. He's like, oh, I'll do 5. And I think we're on 12 now. But it's funny because like when this lockdown started, we were messing around with the last song. Well, at the time we had 9, and then we had the 10th one half done.
Right.
And T's like, it's a hard taskmaster sometimes, you know. Like sometimes I'll send him something and he's like, "What have you done that for? Like, don't ever do that again." Like, no way, change that. So there was like, I used to make quite. It was always bars, but I used to make quite like depressing music, misery music. Like just I was like listening to too much Joe Budden.
Yeah,
and I was
struggle rap.
Yeah. I'm just gonna make like 6-minute mood songs that nobody else cares for apart from me. And like, I didn't see it like that, but there was one record we were making for this album, and T was like, "Right, this is your chance to do that."
See,
and I made the record, and it wasn't quite as good as we thought it was going to be. And T was like, "No, you blew it. Now we've got to do something else." Oh, man. But because of this, like when the lockdown started, I was really like struggling. It wasn't so much writer's block. I was just stumped on this last song. And anyway, that was going to be like track 10, but we ended up adding 11 and 12. Once I got that one out of the way, we ended up adding 11 and 12 during the lockdown as well, just to round it up. But yeah, man, T's like a great person to work with, man. Like he's done a lot for us, and yeah,
it's sick, man. I think it's good to be able to have like someone to bounce ideas
100%.
off. And it's like I've literally only just really got that. The last project I just put out, I kind of had like with me, I'm a control freak, innit? Yeah, so I like doing everything myself. So, but it's really good to have someone who can go, yeah, that's good, but I can make it better, or and someone that you actually trust. And if someone says like, nah, I don't like that, you can go, all right, cool, it's gone. And I feel like that just having that makes such a big difference to like your output and also your confidence in making music. Like this last project that I put out is the first time when I'm just like, my confidence level is so high because I'm like, I know I did my bit with the bars. I know I did my bit with the hooks and the songwriting. I know I did my bit with the beats. All that needed, and now I'm 100% sure that the mixes are right as well. And like,
you know what's mad about this out? Just quickly, I would say it's about your most recent album, right? What's mad about it is I heard obviously the Example interview, and you were talking about the influence from like him and Mike Skinner of just like daily life, you know, talking about it, and then listening to the album, I picked up so much more of that than I like because I'd heard that information. I was like, I see it now. Like listening to it, I was like, I see it now.
But it's cool. It's just like to me, I'm just like I actually feel I'm in that space, man. I'm in my found my tempo. I'm in my vibe. I know what I'm doing. I know what I want to say. And as an artist, it's always good when you've got that. But then it's all the other stuff outside of it that makes things hard. And I think, actually, the question is, do you think having somebody like Turkish, because Turkish is a guy who he knows the industry.
Yeah.
Like he you know what's funny? Like literally, I had one conversation with him at Don't Flop. I don't know how long ago this was. Yeah, I had dreads back then, so it was a long time ago. And like him just kind of casually just dropping some knowledge like of how things work and stuff. I was just like, mad. Damn, like
so like when I'm speaking to Steve, like I'm really intensely just soak up what you're telling me here because I feel like you're not just telling me this for the sake of telling me that. You want me to take this on board and do something with it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But T's whole thing to me in detail has always been like, I'm going to help you, but not do it for you. And that's been really good for me because it's like, okay, you're like giving me the info that I need, and then I just got to apply it and go and do this. And it's obviously working so far. So yeah. No, I think it is. I think it's weird because at first I was just like, you have people around you, like you say, who will give you their input, and it's always great to have other people's input, but it has to be someone's input that you fully trust and fully think is not just like one of your mates who like is just telling you their opinion of what they like. Do you know what I'm saying? It's like, okay, this could just be what you like. It might not be for the overall benefit of it. You might just prefer it to be this way. Do you know what I'm saying? And it's like it's hard sometimes.
That's the killer though, man, because I've had people who I've had like management or managers who have said, oh, you should, how about this sound or do that sound? And my thing is always, you're not an A&R. Like,
yeah.
So why am I even listening to you? Because that's not your job. Your job is to manage. Go and manage. Like, don't tell me what I need to do in my kicks. Like, I need to hear it. But it's good to have someone who is not only is an A&R, but is also a producer and has a track record.
Yeah.
Like, all that stuff to me is like, that's the magic. That's the magic right there, man. So, going forward, I kind of want to stick. I want to stick on this subject a bit longer about just being independent and having to run with the big boys while being independent. How do you feel? How do you feel that's going? Like from the outside looking in, you're doing your thing in it. But how was it on the inside looking out?
I think it's one of them things where it's like you see artists. I think it's hard in this game to not like do the comparison thing. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I really tried to detach myself from that and be like, okay, I'm just doing Britizen Kane and what everyone else is doing. Even if I'm a massive fan of them, whatever else they're doing, I'm not going to watch what they're doing. But sometimes it's really hard because I think you look at it and you're like, that's sort of where I'm aiming to go with this. Do you know what I'm saying? And then you start looking at how they might have done it, and then you realize, but they had this, and this. I don't have that.
I do that all the time.
But like, so mad one for me at the minute is obviously, even though we rap completely different, is like how far H has took it. Do you know what I'm saying? It's
right,
just
okay.
like H has come from like, and just took it. Even though the styles is completely different, it's just like that increase from like where he was just a kid rapping on the street of Manchester to like top 3 in the charts. It's just like, he's mad. And I was like, okay. So, and I start looking at like, man, how's he done that? Because obviously he's still, the Northern Quarter is still the label that he's a part of. Do you know what I'm saying? And I'm just like, okay, so is this still completely independent, or is there, something else with this? And I'm like, I am like, no, Kane, you are completely independent. Like you've got to think about this as if there's nothing, you can't be questioning like, how are they doing that? Because they might be doing this. And I was like, no, you don't have any of that. Like, you are like a beat up Road NC1A and Turkish's Wizardry, and that's it. So you just got to go with this. But I think I've definitely learned a lot over the last few years to just work with the tools that I've got. And I think one thing that I've been lucky with, that I think going back to the 2010 stuff, having the relationship with like Sway and Decipher from so early, it gave me like this. I've got no fear to ask for something. Do you know what I mean? And not in and I think this is how I've managed to do stuff like in certain senses where I know certain artists that are like, they'll ask me like, oh, how did you get on that gig? And I'm like, I just asked. Like, I just literally was like, yo, can I do it? Like, just trolled the internet and found the guy's email and was like, can I do this gig? Like, do you know what I'm saying? And I think that's the thing. Like, I think half the time if you just ask, do you know what I'm saying? Like, if you just ask, you'll find like you might find a way to do it. I
did a whole European tour, and I'll tell you exactly how I did it. Yeah, I've told this bare times how I did it. So all I did was I looked at the High Focus tour list.
Yep.
All the places they went to.
Yep.
Just messaged every promoter.
And that's how you have to do it.
I just sent them my track with Flip Tricks. Said, I did a track with Flip Tricks. You just had them on. Boom, that's what I do. And they were like, yeah, cool.
And it works. But it works. That's what I'm saying. It fully works. Like one of the like some people, I think they're just like when they can't see it on the surface, they're like, okay, what do I do? But I'm like so mad and intense with it. So I went to when I was trying to get one of there's obviously on the playlist on Spotify, there's like a specific Northern Quarter playlist. It's called the Northern Quarter, and it's like a Spotify curated one, but it's just for Northern MCs. And I thought for myself it'd be good to have, even if it doesn't generate an amazing amount of streams or whatever, I wasn't bothered. I thought to have my name in amongst the Bugsy Malone, Meeks, H on this playlist is just gonna look good. So I thought I want to find who does that playlist. So I found the guy's name who did it, but I couldn't find an email address. So I found out what the format is for Spotify email addresses. And then I was like, okay, now just send it like. But it's what I'm saying. It's like I'll just do that to try and take it that extra mile and get that extra footing on it. Do you know what I'm saying? And I think that's the thing. When you are completely independent and you're doing 99.9% of things yourself, and I mean, you take it even further because you do pretty much everything yourself, right? Like this is something that I need to do. Is like I can just rap like just all over.
It's not. I wouldn't advise anyone else to do what I do, because I don't think it's not the wisest move. Like the saying is, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. And that's it's taken me so long because of the way I am as well. Yeah, like I'm not the easiest person to work with. I'm a super control freak, and I'm a vibes person. So even if there's someone who I'm really cool with, I really like them, I love them as family, but we just don't work that well together in this way, I'm not going to work with that person. Whereas when I meet somebody who I'm like, okay, I love the way they work, I love their vibe,
Yeah.
It's cool.
Yeah,
Now I
no,
can
I
work
get it.
with them. So that's why it's taken me this long to even be in a position where I've got one other person on my team where I'm like, yeah, Shapes, that's that guy, you know what I mean? And it's taking, like, I've for real, it's taken 20 years to be in that position, to be like, this is someone else who I know I can work with.
Yeah.
And even just having certain guys who can just give little bits of information. Examples like just over this last couple of weeks, man, just little bits of information, man. Lily Allen, she used to be that to me as well. She'll just drop little bits and be like, all right, cool, these are things that I can use to move forward. But
Yeah, 100%.
like what you've mentioned, the way I see it, it's always like, it's guerrilla warfare, it's guerrilla tactics, it's finding out who does this, who does that. It's emailing, might have to email 200 people. And I feel like that's the bit a lot of people don't get. And even saying that, you're talking about H here. To me, H is, it's a different lane.
Yeah.
And it just moves different. And the numbers are
That's
different.
What I'm saying. You can't compare.
Nah.
Like you can't compare, because I'm just like, okay. I think sometimes it's really easy to get caught up in what's going on around, and I'm just like, no, I'm just focusing on what's going on here. Like, this, what I'm doing here is what I'm doing right now, and that's why I want to stick with it. But it is that, like, that people don't understand. I think there's sometimes as well artists that, when artists first come in, because when I first came into it, like I said, I didn't get it. I think I was lucky that I learned it from young, because I had that with the whole, like, so when I had the record with Sway, and then I was like, I want to get this played somewhere, and a friend of mine at the time had Semtex's email, and I had no fear to just be like, listen to my tune. I don't even think it was listen to my tune. I think it was play my tune. Like, I had no fear. You know what I'm saying? I had no fear, and I think that because I had no fear and I saw a result, like, from young, even now when there's like a setback, because I know a few people, like, and it's no disrespect to them, it's just like that when they do something and they get a setback, it proper knocks them back. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They're like, oh, I don't know why. I can't, like, oh, it's not going to happen for me, this. And I'm like, no, it is. Just because that thing doesn't happen doesn't mean that a lot of like, the amount of gigs that I email for and either get ignored or get no's.
Yeah.
Like, I must have emailed for like 200 gigs last year and got about 6 of them. But then you make those 6 count. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, man.
You make these 6 count. Like these have got to be 6 gigs. Like, that's it, because you ain't got the other. You ain't got the 194 that you emailed about. So you can only do. There's no point of worrying about the ones you didn't do. Worry about the ones you have. Like,
I think it's for younger artists. I wish they could see this side of things, because I don't think they do. And I think, again, you've been kind of blessed to be able to see Decipher from when you were young. I've been able to see kind of glimpses of so many careers. I remember being with Sway when he was selling CDs as well. Like, I remember going to battles with Sway, like, when he was 19. Like, so we go way back.
The first time I heard you was on the Revenge of the Sith record.
With Joker Star.
The first time I heard you was on Joker Star. So yeah.
And that, even that song got me, like, a lot. Because again, at that time, Sway was popping.
Yeah.
So a lot of times,
This is my promo time, isn't it?
me selling CDs was like, I got Sway on it. Oh, you got Sway on it? Yeah, cool. You got Travis Sway? Yeah, man, cool. Yeah, cool. £5, boom. Like, that was how things were. That's how things were moving. Like, but I think it's there's so many elements to this game that I don't think people really understand. Kind of digging a little bit deeper into that side of things. Where have you, or how do you find marketing yourself in this era? Is it something you think about, or is it something you find is a problem with, or you just rolling with what you're doing?
Bro, I'm the worst. Like, I'm terrible at marketing. It's only recently that I've started to, like, I feel like I'm constantly behind what is going on. So like it's like what we were saying about the mixtape era, and I was like stuck in the mixtape era when everyone else was uploaded to Spotify, and I just wanted to make a mixtape and take it and sell it. You know what I'm saying? Like, nah, like, I wanted to make like 27 track mixtapes, so, like, and then it's like, I was like, when I was like, okay, this is what we need to do, I was then on Facebook and Twitter, and it was actually Messiah K2 was like, nah, you need to, Instagram is where it's at.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I think I didn't even have an Instagram account at this point. or if I did, it was like, it was like just like my account and then like 3 personal pictures on there. It's like nothing music related. Doesn't even tell you I'm a rapper. Like, nothing about it. So I was like, nah, this is a shambles. So from there I was like, okay, I need to. I'm still not great at it. I'm really still not great at it. I'm just getting better at realize the people who I have, the people who are following me. I'm getting better at realizing what they want. like these Instagram videos that I've been doing through this whole lockdown situation.
Yeah.
Which is really funny listening to Challenge on your on your project and listening to that and being like, man, I just done so many challenges. And then I heard you, I thought, man, maybe I should have done some of that. I was like, you know, the skit before it.
Yeah.
Like, man, maybe I. But yeah. So doing that though, like, I think that the marketing thing. I think last year as well was I made a point of being like, end of 2018, I spoke to you know Daniel Williams, isn't it? Like 3D Daniel.
Yeah, man.
Williams.
Yeah.
So at the end of 2018, we had a conversation and we were like, the two things that are really lacking is music videos and live shows was the two things that like, because the music was back on point and it was doing okay.
Yeah.
So I made a point of last year getting as many live shows as possible. Like literally, like I'll just do anything. Like let me do a show just to build it up. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Just so it could come to the end of the year and I could be like, I did 100 shows this year. Do
Yeah,
you know
man.
what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But doing that helped me a lot, I think, as far as marketing was concerned, because it just puts you in that place where you can physically meet the people and be like, oh, you were sick. I'm like, oh, well, pull out your phone and follow me. Like,
yeah.
Because I'm online, like I am, like, I find myself sitting there, like, uploading something to Instagram, and I'm like, I don't know what to say. Like, I don't know what to type. What do I say? Like, this feels really unnatural to me to type this into a phone. To, you know what I'm saying? I'm still like, but the marketing thing, I'm still sort of getting to grips with, but
yeah.
It seems over the this course of this year, I feel like I'm getting better at the social media online presence, because at first I was terrible, man.
It's a tough thing, man, because I feel I think it was who was it, man? Someone, was it Don Strapsy? Someone put up a tweet the other day and they were like something about some of these guys are big and their music ain't all that, or something. I don't know what it was, and I must have replied saying music is like, the music is the least thing you need to worry about if you're talking about you want to be a big artist. Like, to me, the music is just like
byproducts.
Yeah, and you know what's funny as well? Yeah, like that's why. Yeah, I think my writing style has changed, and it's like I've had conversations as well with like with Leddy about, yo, you're writing, you're just going too hard, you're just giving them too much, and to me, I'm just like, there's how can I explain it? We're gourmet chefs, yeah. We're gourmet chefs. We went to the school of, we were out somewhere in France, yeah, but we were taught how to make these dishes, yeah. And now we come back and all they want is burgers and hot dogs, but we're still trying to give them like
no, do you want some of this?
Yeah, and they're just like, nah, like you got
McDonald's is open.
Yeah, and it's like you get to a point where you're just kind of like you give too much in a time, and I don't mean like, I don't even mean like yourself, yeah. I mean the time it takes you to write a verse, yeah. Like the time it takes to record something. It's like you put so much energy into that, and it's like, nah, they just want you to tell them what they need to be told, innit?
Yeah.
And I feel like in this day and age as well, because the way music is, there's that you really have to that balance of, okay, you spent a week on this verse, but the beat weren't all that, or the hook weren't all that. Like, where you have to get that balance right, and then on top of all of that, how it's presented is a really important thing, because especially if you want to play the game. Like, if you don't want to play the game, you just want to do your thing. That's, again, there's space for that as well, and that's the beauty of like the internet. There's space for you to do whatever you want. Like, however you want to do it.
Someone's gonna like it. If you
man,
want, somebody somewhere in the world is gonna like it.
My favorite, probably my top 5 artists is Earl Sweatshirt. Like, Earl Sweatshirt doesn't make any music that you could party to. Like, this is not gonna happen. Half of his stuff is, there's no quantize, there's no beat, there's no rhythm, there's just crazy samples, and I love it. Like. It just works for what it is, but it's like, what games you want to play? And I feel like there's so many other elements in this music game that aren't to do with music. No diss to H's fans, but I don't really feel like they're really listening to his music for like some deep insights.
No, they're not. They're not at all. But this is funny, because this is something that me and Tia sort of said recently, and I'm like going back to what I was saying about me making like dark tunes, like miserable tunes, like mood music. And he was like, that's all well and good, but nobody cares about that. Like, apart from you're the only person who wants to hear that 7-minute story about that personal situation that happened to you that no one else knows about.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay. So this is why, like, now I'm just like, right, this is part of the reason I'm like, I'm just going to rap, like, I'm just going to bar, because I think Jay-Z said it on a Kanye tune. It's that, what is it? First I went for the ear and then I went for the heart. And I'm like, okay, that's where I'm at right now.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna I just want to rap so people go, that guy can rap. And then once they're listening and they're hearing the projects and stuff, it's like, okay, now I can start to tell you some of the stories that I wanted to tell you. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's what I mean, because I wanted to just rap. I realized that was the fan base that I wanted. It wasn't the people who were going back to the story I was telling, like right near the beginning. It's not the people who were in college or uni who were going out into the clubs that were. You're never going to hear a Britizen Kane record in a club. Like, you know what I'm saying? But I want people to be able to sit there and be like, yo, let me break that bar down for a second. And I was like, if one person does that, then the verses will win. Like, that's it. Like, that's
the way I see it as well, man. Like, I'm really like, I had this conversation with what's his name? Ben, who does the music academy thing anyway. But anyway, and he was like, his thing is always scale up, scale up, scale up, scale up. And my thing last year was scale down, scale down, scale down. Yeah. Because I was like, nah, I don't want, like, I because I don't know what the numbers are. Like, the numbers are everywhere, and it's like the playlists are throwing me off because they're making me think that I'm bigger than I am. And then when I haven't got it, then I'm just like, like, damn, like, okay, I'm like, can we just forget all that for a second, yeah? Like, that's for the game, and I understand that. That's amazing, but I need to know where I am so that when I order CDs, yeah, and I order merch, I know what's getting sold, because I don't want to see them be like, yo, I got 500,000 plays, let's get 500,000 t-shirts in. And then
I'd be like, where are the people then?
Yeah. So it's like, and I
just stacked with around you in your room, like, now what do we do?
So that's like the whole of last year. I was really about, I really want to know like who's down to ride, like who are the people that are really down, and if I can just figure out who those, is it 100? Is it only 50? Is it 250? Like, I need to know what that number is, so then I can just, cool, I know what I got, I know what to work with, and it's yeah, man. I just think like a lot of people kind of get lost in the sauce, but I feel like one of the beautiful things about being independent is you're always close to your audience, so you can kind of like, it's easier to feel what's going on.
100%.
So looking to the future, what's happening? You got an album coming. When are you looking to do that? Has lockdown kind of stopped the plans or changed things up?
Yeah, I wanted to put it out on April the 17th because that was my birthday, and I thought it was a Friday. I thought it fell nicely. I thought, Friday. I set up an interview with BBC Introducing for the 18th because they run it on a Saturday night up here. So I thought, perfect, drop it. Next night I can go and do the BBC Introducing. It works out nicely. And then obviously lockdown came, and then we hadn't finished this last song, and then I thought it's looking unlikely this is going to come out. And then we ended up making 2 more records, and I was like, okay. And then there was a feature verse. We had a record with Shogun.
Yeah, man.
We had a record that I really wanted to get Shogun on, and then it was like a proper, like the very last thing that we got was Shogun's verse. We were like, we might not get Shogun's verse, and then he was like, I'm gonna do it now, and literally got the verse straight away. I was like, okay. So then I'm glad that it didn't come out when it came out. Nice. We've added two records, and one of them might be my favorite one that's on it, and then we got Shogun's verse. So we're probably looking to put it out now, probably autumn time. We've got another single loaded. Which comes out at the end of this month. Yeah. I've not announced it on the socials properly yet, but it comes out at the end of this month. We've got another single loaded, and then it'll be the album. I think we said this is the last. We're going to try and get a video shot. This is the tune with Shogun. We're going to try and get a video shot though before it drops. If you know what I'm saying, I'm going to try and get to Glasgow, get the video shot, and then we can just get it out. Because like obviously, we wanted to do a video for Tyson Fury, and we probably might have even tried to do one for Adlib, but the lockdown situation stopped that being able to happen. Do you know what I'm saying? Yeah. So it was just like, okay. It's an awkward situation, so I'm like, right, this one needs a video because this is going to be the last one before the album comes out. And then a lot of the other ones on the album, I can just shoot them myself in Manchester. Do you know what I'm saying? So it's like, this has got a feature on it. Let's try and get that one in. Other than that, as soon as this situation's blown over, I really, really want it. Like, I'm missing not doing shows from doing so many shows last year. Like I said, I made a point of doing so many shows last year. To this year, not doing any shows so far. I think I did like 2 shows in Jam, and that's all I've done this year. And I'm just like, this is not the one. And I was meant to do BBC Introducing stage at Highest Point Festival this year.
Sick.
And I've never done a proper festival in the slightest. Like, so that was huge to do that. And I was like, this is sick. And then it got cancelled. But they moved it to September. And then I seen yesterday that they said, live outdoor events can go ahead. So now I'm saying, like, maybe by September I can still go ahead and I can still get it. But yeah, other than that, mate, I just can't wait to start getting shows again. That's the main thing. Get this album out with Turkish, and then me and T, like, I can't remember who you were talking to, but I heard you recently. Might have been an example when you were talking about like you work far in advance.
Yeah.
So I always feel like I was saying this to somebody the other day. I said, like, I feel like if the public are at like level 1, like with what's out from Britizen Kane, and then like we know about like level 2 because the album and that they've not heard yet, and then me and Turkish are working on like level 3. And I'm saying it's like, okay, we're now working on the next project after the album. Like the album's done and ready, and we're now on to the next one. Started that one. So yeah, I'm just trying to keep a constant stream of music, man, because obviously so far it's done good, and I know that the next single might not do. There's always a chance that the next thing's not going to do as well. Do you know what I'm saying? It's like I just want to keep it on that trajectory, going up. So yeah.
Consistency kills, man. Consistency kills.
That's the one. So I think sometimes I've definitely fallen foul in the past of like overkill. Like I think a funny conversation that me and T have had recently is like, I used to be like, going back to what I was saying about like it all ties in with like the wrong mentality from like back in the mid 2000s. I was like, I'm going to do every feature that I can. Remember Lil Wayne, when Lil Wayne came out? I'm just going to do everything.
Bruv, I was on the same thing, man. 2008, Lil Wayne,
yeah, I'm just going to do everything. So, like, this was like 2017, 2018 when I started like writing again and I was happy with music. I'm like, I'm going to do every single feature. So in 2018, I must have done about 35, 40 features. Yep. And then, obviously, I'd forget the fact that they're not all going to come out the day that you do them, and they're going to trickle out over the time. So then last year, a bunch of features started appearing, and T was like, "Where's this come from?"
Yeah.
I
hate that, bro.
I forgot I'd done this. So like, it's funny. I remember you saying once. I swear I seen you put on a status like, "If I give you a feature verse and it ain't come out in 6 months, I'm taking it back."
Yeah, that's the. Do you know what? Someone else said that as well. I think Nah, you know who said that? It was Manga. Manga said that, but I think I must have retweeted it, and I said, "Yo, I got you still," because I had a guy who I did the verse and the video for in like 2017, yeah, like way back. I was wearing baggy jeans still, yeah, and he put it out like last year, and I'm like, I'm not promoting it, man. I'm not promoting it. I'm not even one RT for me.
The problem is like on your Spotify when you have like your albums, and then it says appears on at the bottom, and I'm like scrolling through and I'm like. This is bad. Like. So T has really got a cap on it now. So I've only done 2 features this year so far. I've literally done 2. T's like, I'm double checking everything with him. I'm like, and he's like, otherwise you just do everything.
It kills you, man. It really does. And especially like when I was going back like a couple of years. So in that frame of thought of like, yeah, I'm doing every feature. Especially when you're getting paid for features as well. Yeah. So around like 2016, 2017. I was literally just doing everything. It was one year I did 66 features. I used to write them down, innit? I used to have on my phone. All right, then there's 66 features. And then what happens is they start coming out, and then you're in the middle of promoting your project, and then they drop it, and you're like, come on, bro. Like, why did you? Like, what? Why would you do that right now? Or I'll have a track will come out, and I'll be like, that wasn't the original beat. Like that wasn't. I don't remember hearing it on that beat. And why am I off? Like one bar.
Have you ever sent your stems to someone and then they've mixed it but not shown you the mix and put it out and you're like, bro. So once, right? I swear to you, I've done a feature for. This is so bad. I did a feature for someone. This was years ago. It's like 2012 time, right? I'd done a feature for someone, and they were like, "Send us the acapella and we're gonna mix it." And I was a bit like, okay, okay. So I sent it them, and then. They'd obviously done it, and then they put it out, and I don't think I'd heard the tune when they put it out. For some reason, I don't think I'd gone and listened to the song. I think it'd been like a year after I'd done the verse, and I forgot that I'd sent them the acapella, and I thought I was just the version that I sent them with my mix, it'll be fine. Then they asked me to do a gig with them and asked me to perform the tune live. And obviously I'd not listened to this tune until like, this was like, because I think they realised that they were doing the same gig and I was on the same bill. I thought, you might as well do your verse on this tune. I thought, cool. So this was like the day before. So then I went to listen to the tune to refresh my memory of the lyrics. And bro, man, I was all over the beat. Like, and I thought, what do I do now? Anyway, so I turned up at the gig and I was like, the instrumentals. And he was like, no, we're just rapping over the tune. Wait, so you want me to rap off beat? You're expecting me now to rap wrong.
Oh my god.
I was like, no, this can't run. This can't run.
Yeah, I actually had a situation like that literally last week. for a music video. Shout out my boy Nooks, man. We're supposed to shoot this video, and I sent him the guide and the verse to whoever he's sending it to. And so I thought it was cool. I thought it was all done or whatever. And so we're shooting a video. This is like the Thursday, and we're supposed to be shooting a video Saturday. So he's like, "Yeah, everyone good to go?" I'm like, "Yeah, cool, man." And I thought to myself, let me just check the beat again just to see, because I couldn't remember the verse. I got to learn the verse. So then they'd moved my verse from the last verse to the second verse, but then it was like one one bar out of time. Or I'm just like, I can't rap. I can't do that, man. And then everyone in the group chat's laughing like, "Yo, bro, I thought that was you, bro. I thought you forgot how to rap."
Bro, it's so mad. But that was like, this is crazy. When I heard that, I thought, nah, this doesn't happen. One guy was like, I remember once as well. I shouldn't laugh, but I was like, "How long do you want me to rap? Like, what's the verse length?" And he's like, "No, just do about 30 seconds." I thought, "You want me to literally just do 30 seconds and stop." If it's mid-bar, that's me done, yeah. I'm a 13 and a half bar verse.
Oh,
there you go,
shit.
Mate. How many bars do you want? About 30 seconds.
Oh, that's crazy.
Right, but nah, like, so I've made a point. One thing that I've definitely made a point with features as well is like, I don't do a feature now unless they've already got their vocals on it. Because the amount of times that someone will send you a beat and be like, "Yeah, do a verse on this," and then you put a verse on it, and then about 6 years later, you just find a beat with a verse that you've done, and just no one else ever finished it. Like,
yeah, you know what? Actually, the deepest one. I know this is your interview, not my interview, but while we're talking on crazy stories, yeah. So I did a verse. A guy sent me a beat. I did a verse and a hook, and I thought he was gonna have someone else do another verse on it. Mm-hmm. So then he's messaged me back and was like, "Yeah, I like it. Can you do another verse on it?" And I'm like, "Not like, nah. Like, it's a feature. I'm not doing a whole song for you, innit?" He was a producer, so I'm like, "Nah, just get someone else to do a verse on it." Didn't hear nothing back. Then like a year later, I see it up on Spotify. I'm like, what the hell? Like, I see it on my latest tunes from Genesis Elijah, and I see this tune. I'm like, "Are you mad?"
Two that have just come into my head is, once some guy was like, "Yo, we should do a track," and I'm like, "Okay, cool." And he was like, he said to me, "All right, find a beat, write your verse and the hook, and send it over." I was like, "You just asked me to do it. You just asked me to feature, and you want me to do all that?" Nah. The other one was, I remember I did a tune for a guy from up here. It was me, this guy called Caesar, and Nico from Moth Crew. We'd done this tune. It was Caesar's tune featuring me and Nico, and it was like a funky house tune. It was like probably getting on for like 9 years ago now.
See. Big up Nico. Big up Nico.
Yeah, man, 100%. And then we done this tune, and then Caesar, the guy whose tune it was, he was like putting out his EP or mixtape or whatever, and he was like ready to put it out. And then one day, one of my boys was like listening to this tune on his phone, and I thought, "How have you got that tune?" He's like, "Oh, bro, it's on iTunes." I thought, "What do you mean?" "Bro, the producer of the song had uploaded it to iTunes and put it himself, his name, I can't remember his name, it was like him, featuring Caesar, Nico, and this guy's took the tune and just uploaded it.
Nah,
you can't do that.
That's cold. I got a publisher friend who, she's just like, no features unless the splits. Like, if you don't know the person, you make sure you get the splits contract all done. Like, crazy. Yeah, people do some mad things in the industry, man.
Yeah, it's mad. Like I say, so 2018, I just went feature heavy, and then obviously it trickled out over the next few years, and then it's a bit of a clean up now. So T's like, right, we're only doing the right features now. So every time I get a feature, I'm like, "Can we do this one?" Rather than me just being like, "Yeah, I'll do it.
That's sick, man.
Because then you get annoyed because you write a fire verse for someone, and then it never comes out.
It's gone.
And you're just like, and then there was once I'd done a verse for someone, and then I thought, this tune ain't coming out. It's been like 2-3 years. I thought, and there was a bar in it that I really liked, and I thought, I'm just gonna reuse that bar. I think I used it in one of the Instagram challenge videos this year. And the guy inboxed me and was like, "Ain't that the bar from the verse you done for me?" I was like, "Bro, like, he's serious?" Like, "Oh man, no, you can't do that." And she was like 3 years old. That ain't coming out.
Nah, this game is funny, man. It's funny.
It's funny. I love it, but it's funny.
It's fun. Yeah. Nah, man. But bro, thank you for giving me your time.
Good man,
it's been a sick one. We're waiting for this one for a while actually, and it's cool just to, like, you know what I mean. Like me, I watch everybody. I watch what everyone's doing in the game, and it's cool just to kind of see your growth and just see just that steady consistency and just seeing where it's building to. And it's cool. And like you say, man, it's like it's never like it's never competition, but you're never comparing, but you're always looking. And it's like I'll be running and I just see, I'm like, yo, Where's Britizen? He's there. He's there. Alright, cool. I'm good. I mean,
yeah, and I think it's something you touched on in another interview as well, and it was like just celebrating what everyone else is doing. Like, some people really see this competition like, no, bro, I can't have it where he's doing more than me. It's like, no, I applaud you. Like, well done. Do you know what I'm saying? You've done that. That's sick. Like, big up you for doing that. Like,
100%.
Yeah. Because I feel like everyone gets what they get when it comes to them. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, you'll get what you're supposed to get in your time. Do you know what I'm saying?
You ain't getting nothing from no one else, man. It's what you do is what you do.
Exactly, bro.
And that's how it is, and it's cool to see.
And that ties into what we were saying. Like, that's why I do everything. Do you know what I'm saying? It's like, okay, I want this Spotify playlist, so I'm gonna find this thing, or I want this gig, so I'm gonna spend 2 hours finding out who's putting it on just for the opportunity to email them. I might not even get a reply. It might be a no, but just to be like, in my head, I'm like, okay, you took the step to do that. That's better than not taking the step. Do you know what I'm saying? So I think that's how you have to do it if you're independent, man. Yeah,
man. And I think when your album drops, man, I think it's gonna be something that I think it's funny. It's that whole thing. It's like it's the journey in it, man. And it's like once it's done, it's out there, and it's gonna be something you can sit back and be like, you know what, man, I'm proud that I did what I came here to do. And and you mentioned before about having the people that you look up to, or the borrowers respecting what you do, and I think you're in a place now where people really respect your pen game. It's like you know what I mean, they know what time it is, and I feel like
obviously this is what I mean. I think that the last 6 months has really been like, oh, Britizen Kane can rap. Like he can actually rap. Like he ain't just a pest who keeps tagging us in things or sending us links to shit. Like he can actually rap. So I'm like, yeah, man, just keep it moving now.
Nah, brother, but yeah, man, blessings to you. Keep doing your thing.
Thank you.
Stay on the line real quick. Anyone you want to shout out? You want to do the shout out thing?
Oh, we're doing the shout outs.
Go on, man.
Take up airline. Just so you know, like massive thank you to Turkish in Detail for everything that we're doing. Awate as well, Messiah K2, Dan Williams. Yeah, the whole family of people that are involved in what we've been doing over the last 6 months, a year, man. It's been a good journey.
I love the fact that everyone you bigged up, man. I consider my folks. So that's, you know what I mean. Like we're moving in them circles, man. I like it.
This is why it's mad. We've never had a proper conversation because
it is kind
of like the Venn diagram crosses over loads, and it's like we've never really had the conversation before.
And you're from Manchester, it's nuts.
Even Nova as well. Like put Nova in there, like you know what I mean. We're both close to Nova. We never had this conversation.
Yeah.
Before, yeah.
See, nah. You know what? This has been a good thing for me, man, because I'm like, I might not. I'm really bad at picking up the phone and calling people, but if I put an interview together, I'll definitely do it. So this has been a good thing for me to actually get in to talk to people properly and kind of just helping building that relationship. I hate networking. I'm all about relationships. So it's definitely a good thing, man. But bro, thank you for your time. And let me say goodbye to the people online. Guys, man, it's been an emotional one. It's been a good one. It's been a good time. Like I said, this might be the last show in this format we might do for a while. Shout out to everyone on the live. I see you. Yeah, man. Hit them to that subscribe button because we're gonna be back bigger and better than ever. We've got the studio show coming very soon as well, so look out for that. But guys, stay blessed, stay safe. Do what we gotta do. Spread love, man. Peace.